Welcome. It's May 11th. You ready for our daily Stoic
Yes.
conversation? I am too. Let's do it.
Pardon me?
We're just crisscross applesaucing each other.
Yes.
Alrighty, we're going to talk about guilt is worse than jail.
Ain't that true? I mean, I haven't been in a jail, but, I can imagine. But guilt is almost like a lifelong jail or something, in some way. Okay, cool. That's exciting. Let's see what they're talking about.
Coolio. Seneca has a quote today. He says, "The greatest portion of peace of mind is doing nothing wrong. Those who lack self-control live disoriented and disturbed lives."
Okay, it's like that felt like a dunk or something. Okay, can we just do the first sentence?
The greatest portion of peace of mind is doing nothing wrong.
The greatest portion of peace of mind, peace in a way like you're calm, like a peace of mind, I see, is doing nothing wrong. I don't get it.
The majority of where your peace of mind comes from is when you're not doing anything wrong.
So in other words, like if you're not doing anything wrong, then you are in peace of mind. Then you're
that's
calm.
The greatest portion of your peace of mind is knowing that you didn't do anything wrong.
That's interesting because that's incentivizing to not do things wrong in some way.
Yes. Well, the next sentence is those who lack self-control live disoriented and disturbed lives. Mm-hmm. So he's linking this doing something wrong with a lack of self-control.
Lack of self-control.
And so he's saying when you don't have self-control, you're doing these wrong things. And that is creating this disorientation and this disturbance. It's this guilt. And guilt is the feeling of I did something wrong. And so we know when we did it, like we feel the guilt. It's like it's there. It's like reminding us like I did something wrong. And so that's why it's an important thing for us to pay attention to not try to push away, but to pay attention to, because when I'm feeling the guilt, it's trying to teach me something. It's trying to say, hey, you, Brentan, you did something wrong. Pay attention to me. And then when I learn with the thing that I did wrong and I correct that behavior, then the guilt goes away. And I have the peace of mind.
Mm-hmm. Got it. So he's not talking about it like doing something wrong is like you shouldn't be doing it or something, because it's like that's our development, right? So like no, you will be doing many wrong things, and within them you'll discover that when you are more in self-control, whatever you have control over, right? If you are now exercising that to have more self-control, then the wrongs are now a teaching moment to get better or something like that, right? So like I get it like from that standpoint, but like he almost like it sounded like doing something wrong is you don't want to do that, right? But then there's this other train of thought of like, no, do as many mistakes as possible because that's how you learn. So now it's kind of like this almost sounds like avoid doing something wrong, right?
I don't see those viewpoints as incompatible. I see them as like,
not that you don't want to really do anything wrong.
Yeah, like
actually you just end up doing something
right
wrong.
Like I accept the fact that I'm not perfect and that there will always be a next wrong thing coming down the pike. And at the same time, I understand that guilt is this really incredibly valuable signal internally that lets me know, hey, you weren't acting the right way here.
Sure. Yeah.
There's evidence of that because the guilt exists inside of you.
Yeah. The guilt exists for the right reason. And what is the reason? Well, because you did something wrong, or something was not done in the way that everyone ended up being okay, right? Like, you feel I did something that I probably shouldn't have, so I need to apologize.
Right.
And
in that way, I would say, like, wrong is not even an air quotes wrong. Wrong is just like, no, it's wrong. Like, it's not this air quotes like thing. It's like, no, I know it's wrong because I feel guilty. That makes it real. That makes it like, hey, like, somehow my body knows, my system knows what the right and wrong thing is, because it's giving me these emotional signals.
I'm just saying wrong in this way because whatever your sense of right and wrong is today is dynamic, so it changes. And so today, whatever you're thinking wrong is today might not be wrong tomorrow, because you might be like, hey, I was thinking about it totally different. That's not wrong. That's I can behave that way, right? But at some point you're like, that's wrong. So I'm just saying, like, the wrong also moves.
Sure.
with it, that's it.
Yeah, and so I guess the best we could hope for is to pay attention to what my body is signaling is wrong right now, today, my understanding of that presently, and then to pay attention to those signals.
Because that's the guilt that you were talking about. That's the signal of something right now. Just recently, I just did something that doesn't fit or something. It's not aligned. Okay, let's try to change that, or you might change your mind that thing that you did was not really inappropriate. You don't need to adjust your behavior, because you might have been believing that your behavior was wrong, and now you're getting this feeling of, oh, I did something wrong, and then you go apologize to this person, and it's like, oh my God, no, they didn't do anything, and I don't know how you were looking at it, but that didn't affect me. So you're just thinking you were doing something wrong to me, but you didn't do anything wrong. So maybe it's just in your understanding, I did something like this, and now I feel guilty. But maybe you can just say, there might be a scenario is like, hey, I don't need to feel guilty about it. Let's say.
Sure.
Somebody takes there's 20 candies on the thing, and they're like, I don't want to take it because I feel guilty already of not taking it or something, versus maybe it's like, no, this is for everyone.
Yeah, sure. There may be some over-indexing in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And then, guilt and shame, now we're kind of getting into shame territory too, which is the feeling of I am bad. Not like I did something bad, like there was a discrete behavior in a situation, in a context that could be adjusted so that I'm playing better here, versus I'm worthless, I don't deserve anything, I am just bad at my core. And so I think there's
a difference between like glitch in the system versus it's my fault, right? Like you're recognizing like, hey, there's some glitch in the system.
Yeah. That's guilt.
That's needs to be adjusted somehow. Okay, that's guilt. You feel bad that maybe you were somehow a creator of that glitch. Great. But now if you then go to the next step saying, this is all my fault.
Right.
Now that's a shame. And so don't go into that step. Go into the analytical, like, shoot, I shouldn't have done that. Maybe next time I can do something else. Okay, got it. Moving on. Yeah, versus this self-destroying type of mechanism, which the second step creates. Right.
And the tricky thing is like they sometimes come as a package or like glued together. And so it's like the task becomes
very fast.
Peeling back. Okay, like what is the lesson for me to actually learn here to adjust something? And then what's all the other baggage on top of it that I need to sort of disregard and throw away? Yeah.
Cool. All right, Mr. Ryan, what do you got for us today?
Alrighty, Ryan has a couple of paragraphs. He says, "Consider the fugitives who willingly turn themselves in after years on the run. Why would they do that? They were free, one step ahead of the law, but they gave up because the guilt and the stress of the fugitive life eventually gets worse than the prospect of lost freedom. In fact, it was its own kind of prison. That's the same reason why, as a child, you might have confessed to a lie to completely unsuspecting parents. It's the reason why one partner might voluntarily admit to a crushing infidelity, even though the other partner had no idea. Why are you telling me this?" the betrayed shouts as she walks out the door. "Because things have been going so well and I couldn't take it anymore." There are immense costs of doing wrong, not only to society, but to the perpetrator. Look at the lives of most people who reject ethics and discipline and the chaos and misery that so often follows. This punishment is almost always as bad or worse than whatever society metes out. This is why so many petty criminals confess or voluntarily surrender. They don't always stick to it, but at the lowest moment, they finally realize this is no way to live. They want the peace of mind that comes with doing right. And so do you. Guilt is worse than jail.
Guilt, see, that's interesting, because maybe guilt is not worse than jail, but shame is worse than jail.
I think you're right on that.
Yeah, because the guilt is really just like we were talking about, it's like a tool. Like, why is a tool a bad thing? No, but if you're hitting yourself with that tool in the head, no, that's not ideal.
Yeah. I really like this. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. Thank you, Oli. Thank you at home.
Thank you, Brenty.
You're welcome. See you later.